Hi everyone, this is Migs from Sneaks and Ball PH, and today we'll be taking a look at all of the basketball shoe and basketball retro releases of last week. Then we will also take a look at the upcoming sneaker releases for next week. So to get things started, I will pull out my mighty phone and we'll start with Adidas. So on the Adidas site, they did actually drop 4 shoes, so we'll be taking a look at them one by one. So the first shoe would be the Dame 6 Pride shoes, and this actually comes in like a Pride pack. So it's not just the Dame 6, but there's also another shoe that we'll get to later. But the Dame 6 has a white upper for the outer part, and on the inner part it does have this sort of rainbow pattern that's actually pretty cool looking. And you also have that same rainbow pattern here on the outsole. This colorway in particular is actually pretty nice, and I think the Pride theme was actually executed very well on this shoe. And in general, I also really like the Dame 6 silhouette. It is also nice that Adidas made a colorway of this for the Dame 6 because the Pride advocacy is actually an advocacy that, in my opinion, we should all support and we should all fight for. Because, you know, you don't really have to be a part of the LGBTQ community to support their movement, and we should all just strive to make this world a better place. Then Adidas also released another Pride shoe, so this would be the D-Rose 10 Pride shoes. And I'm not really too fond of how the D-Rose 10 looks because it actually seems like they designed it way back when and they only decided to release it now. But it also has that same Pride theme, and on the styling of this one, the rainbow pattern is on the midsole, and the upper is predominantly white, and then you also have a milky white translucent outsole. It is a pretty cool colorway, but like, you know, as I said, I'm not really a fan of the D-Rose 10 silhouette in general. And I just like the execution on the Dame 6 Pride shoes a little bit more than this one. And then another shoe that released this week was the Dame 6 Playoff shoe, and it is predominantly gray. And in the description, it says that it was inspired by Dame's favorite 1990s basketball video game. I'm not really sure which video game he's referring to, but maybe if you see the shoes, you would have an idea of what video game that is, and please help me out. Please comment what video game that was, because I don't know. I really don't have any idea. So once again, it does have a gray upper, and then on the outsole, it does have this split look, where one side is gray and the other half is in light blue. You also have a little bit of black here on the medial side, and on the medial side, nylon straps that attach to the laces. They are in red with also that same baby blue. Then you have a couple of details. So you have 7 times B plus up YB. So I think this is a reference to the video game. And you also have a detail on the heel that says always on fire, which is also probably on the video game, but it also kind of describes Damian Lillard also, because he is one of the best shooters and scorers in the NBA right now. So that's actually pretty cool. In my opinion, the playoff colorway of the Dame 6 is just okay, but you know, I'm not really liking the shade of gray, but it is kind of cool, and I really like the always on fire text at the heel. But aside from that, it's just meh. Then Adidas also dropped the Harden Force in the playoff colorway this week, and this is actually, in my opinion, like the best shoe they released last week. It might be because I'm biased to orange, but hear me out. It has a predominantly orange upper, then it has a sort of vault outsole, so really bright shoe. Then you also have a little bit of gray here on the midfoot band, as well as on the lace loops. I just really like the concept because it is the orange of a safety cone. And then you also have the word crossing written on that midfoot band, because, you know, James Harden, crossovers, crossed over. Anyway, you get the point. Then on the tongue of the right shoe, you do have the 3 stripes in red. And then on the left shoe, you actually have a stop sign. So that's just like, you know, if you're gonna take a theme, just like take it all the way. And with these Harden 4 playoff colorways, they did it. I really like this. Then now moving on to Nike, these aren't basketball shoes or basketball retros, but just because, you know, we did the Pride collection for Adidas, Nike also has their Be True collection, which is also for Pride Month. And you have the Air Max 2090 with its various shades of like pink, blue, yellow, light blue, black, white, and all of that stuff. And it actually looks pretty cool, and it's pretty much a full-size run. And then you also have the Zoom Pegasus 37, which is a running shoe and the latest running shoe from Nike. This is actually a little bit more subdued because it is a black upper, And then the rainbow is actually underneath the black mesh, so it kind of just peeks out a little bit. So there, if you want to represent the LGBTQ community or their movement, and you don't want Adidas and you want Nike, Nike has also got you covered with the Be True collection. Then for the Nike basketball shoe releases, we have the LeBron 17 Low in the gray colorway. I actually find that I like this shade of gray a lot better than the Dame 6 a while ago. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty much all gray, but then you do have that baby swoosh in like an orange. And then you also have a little bit of color on the crown at the back, so it's like a little bit of vault and a little bit of orange. You also have a little bit of blue, so it's not totally gray, but it is pretty subdued with a little bit of pops of color. Then Nike also released another colorway of the LeBron 17 Low, and it has a predominantly white upper. Oh wait, no, this isn't white. This is a all sail upper. And then on the plastic piece that runs all the way from the forefoot to the heel, it has a gradient of green to purple. This is actually pretty cool because, you don't really see a lot of green to purple gradients in most things. So I find that a really cool touch. Then you have black swooshes and the black crown logo. Then you also have black on the Air Max 270 unit in the heel. Then for the last detail, I think the outsole is glow in the dark. So, if you're into that sort of thing, you have a glow in the dark outsole. Then moving on to the next shoe, we have the Nike LeBron 7 in the MVP colorway. I actually copped a pair of these on the sneaker site, and for some reason they didn't sell out, so that's a boo-boo on my part. I really thought that these were gonna sell well, but apparently people aren't really that warm about this shoe. You have white leather on the upper, then you also have this gray suede over here on the midfoot panel. And then you also have a swoosh with this carpet-looking material, which is in this light brown. Then for the outsole, the air unit, as well as the interior lining and the laces, you do have it in that traditional wine color of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then you also have MVP written on the medial side because this is the MVP colorway of the LeBron 7. And this actually is quite interesting because this was actually supposed to release, but LeBron's decision to leave Cleveland to go to Miami, made it very hard for Nike to release this shoe at the time. Then for the next shoe, Nike released two colorways of the PG4. And the first colorway is the USA PG4. And this is, pretty self-explanatory. It uses the USA colors of red, white, and blue. You have a predominantly white upper as well as a white midsole. And then you have red and blue mixed in on the outsole. You also have blue on the medial mesh. And then you also have red here on the lining as well as the zipper. So this colorway is actually pretty clean, but it's not anything special. It's just another USA colorway that Nike pumps out almost all the time. But the color blocking is on point, so it is a pretty nice looking shoe. Then the other colorway of the PG4 that they released is a triple black PG4. Well, it's not really triple black because if you say triple black, that means it's entirely black. But it almost is completely black because, the upper is black, the midsole is black. Then you have a marbled gray and black outsole, and then you just have a little bit of dark gray on the swoosh. So, it's pretty much all black, and on the spots that they didn't use black, it's still a dark color. So it's a pretty dark shoe. Though I don't really like triple black sneakers and I don't like this triple black PG4, I understand that a lot of people will like this shoe because, if you don't like cleaning your shoes, a triple black shoe is a pretty good way to go. Then for the next shoe, it's actually a budget shoe because it's 4,495 pesos. And this is the KD Tray 58. Kind of confusing because, KD Tray 5 because 35, and then 8, which is the number of the shoe. So, Nike, what's up with that name? But it does look like a pretty promising budget shoe because it doesn't look like they cheaped out on it because it looks like it has okay materials. And then it also has Nike's Renew Foam, which we don't really know what it exactly is, but it is comfortable. This colorway is predominantly black, but on the forefoot where you do have this sort of textile or knit, it's black, but it's interlaced with some silver, so it gives it a little bit of pop. But then for a little bit more pop, you do have a little bit of bright green on the lace holes. You also have it on the midfoot panel and on the outsole. So I think it actually looks pretty okay, even though it's predominantly black, it does have enough pop of color to suit my taste. Then for the next shoe, we have the Jordan Why Not 03 SE in the first colorway that they unveiled. So it's, it's a pretty wild shoe, so forgive me if I can't describe it accurately. So there's a predominantly white midsole and you have a white upper. Although on the midsole, you also do have a little bit of red and orange and black. Then you have these cables, some are red, some are white. Then you have this weird looking pull tab that's on the side of the heel, and that's in orange. You have an orange Westbrook logo, and then you have a little bit of purple scattered throughout the shoe. So, you know, Russell Westbrook and his style. What can you do? So the Y-Not-03 is supposed to be lighter because, like, unlike this guy, so this is the original Y-Not-03, it doesn't have the strap and it doesn't have the overlays that the regular Y-Nots have. So overall, it's a pretty eccentric looking shoe, but you know, that's the theme because like even the regular Y-Not-03s are pretty out there. So this is just going along with how the Y-Nots have always looked. It is a very polarizing shoe, so if you like it, you just really love it a lot. And if you hate it, you pretty much hate it to death. Then for the next shoe, we have a new colorway of the LeBron Witness 4. And the LeBron Witness 4 is actually a really good budget shoe, so it retails for 4,995 pesos. And it has a mesh upper, and surprisingly, it has two really large zoom units in the forefoot. So it's pretty much like the regular LeBron 17s, just without the Air Max 270 unit in the heel. So this colorway is actually a team colorway, so it is in royal blue. And I'm pretty partial to royal blue, and in my opinion, this is just really clean when you have a royal blue outsole and the royal blue midsole with a white swoosh and a white midsole. So it's pretty simple, it's pretty clean, and you know, if your team colors are blue, this is actually a pretty good shoe to pick up, especially when you're on a budget. Then for the next shoe, Nike released the Air Zoom Universe Fly Ease. And I think this colorway, since it is red and blue, is for Elena Del Don. So Elena Del Don is actually a really good WNBA player, and she has a sibling that has cerebral palsy because the Fly Ease shoes are meant for those people who have either you know, mental disabilities or physical disabilities that kind of hinder them from lacing their shoes on their own. So the Air Zoom Universe Fly Ease has that Fly Ease system where it has an easy entry point on the heel, and then you just have this one strap that, you know, pretty much cinches you in all the way. This is also a pretty nice colorway. I think this is my favorite colorway of the Zoom Universe so far. It is predominantly red. Then you have a red and blue marbled outsole, a white midsole, and then you have a little bit of navy on the back. Then for the next shoe, Nike released another colorway of the Nike Precision 4. So the Nike Precision 4 is actually one of the best budget shoes you can get for basketball right now. And get this, it only retails for 3,195 pesos. I don't really know what they did with their Phylon foam, but it's actually pretty comfortable and pretty low to the ground and responsive as well. You do have a pretty basic upper, but you know, that's to be expected from a shoe that's this cheap from Nike. And you know, it doesn't look all that bad. Like, you do have a white and blue midsole, and then you have a predominantly blue upper. You also have white on the swoosh, as well as white on the outsole. So if you're into basketball and you want a brand new shoe, but you want it to be the cheapest possible, this is actually the cheapest one that I can recommend that actually plays well. Then for the next shoe, we have a budget shoe from Jordan brand. So this is the Jordan Westbrook One Take PF. And it retails for 4,995 pesos. And you know, just like the SE Y-Not-03s and the original Y-Not-03s, it's again very wild, has a lot of colors, very Westbrook. So it just pretty much looks like a stripped down version of the Y-Not-03. And for this colorway, you have a lot of teal. So you have teal on the outsole, you have a white midsole, you have a red and black upper, you have this gradient, like iridescent heel clip at the back. Then you have a lot of, you know, very jagged styling pieces, and it looks pretty crazy, which is exactly what Westbrook wants. It is cool though that Westbrook's signature line has a budget option. So, you know, people who like the styling but can't necessarily afford the main signature shoe can go after this one. I don't know how this plays on court because I currently don't have a colorway, because like I also didn't like the previous colorway that released on the One Take, but you know, we will try to get a pair so that for all the budget conscious people, you can have an additional option. Then for the next shoe, yes, we still have more shoes from Nike because Nike has been dropping things left and right last week. So the next shoe would be the Kyrie 6, and they released two colorways of the Kyrie 6. So the first colorway of the Kyrie 6 is predominantly black. So it has a black upper, it has a black midsole, but then you have this sort of like LED dot kind of design which reads 11 on the back part of the shoe. So you have that LED dot text in like this teal as well as orange. You also really have this cool Nike swoosh that's sort of iridescent and kind of goes between like, I'd say this is silver, orange, and teal. So that's a pretty cool look. And then the outsole is mostly black. However, on that forefoot piece, you have more teal and more orange. So overall, I'm not really sure what to make of this colorway of the Kyrie 6 because it is pretty quirky and a little bit strange, which is kind of like how Kyrie Irving is. So moving on to the next colorway, we have the USA colorway of the Kyrie 6. So for this colorway of the Kyrie 6, I actually prefer it over the PG4 USAs. Even though, you know, technically they share the same colors, but I feel like the execution on the Kyrie 6 was just better. So for the USA colorway of the Kyrie 6, you have a white upper, you also have a white midsole. Then for the mid-foot strap as well as the heel clip and the Kyrie logo on the tongue, it is in red. Then for the blue portions, you do have the inner lining in blue, you have the outline of the Nike swoosh in blue, and you also have the midsole in blue. Then you also have red on the forefoot part of the outsole with blue at the back half. Then the next shoe that Nike released last week was the KD13 in 2 colorways. So they released the first one, which is this black colorway, and it pretty much is like the PG4 and same thing, not really feeling this one. You do have a black upper, then you have a gray midsole. Then for the outsole, it is this sort of black and gray marbled pattern. Then oddly enough, you do have a little bit of orange here on the midfoot part of the outsole, as well as the forefoot. Then the only other thing that's not really dark is the white swoosh. So it pretty much is kind of like an almost all black shoe again. And in my opinion, this just really isn't my thing. But again, just like with the PG4 in triple black, this is really easy to use because it's not gonna get dirty right away. So if you're into that thing and if you like the KD13, this would probably be for you. Then the other colorway of the KD13 that they released is another USA colorway. So, you know, I think Nike's overdoing it with the USA colorway. Like, not every shoe needs to have the USA colorway. But anyway, this is the KD13 in the USA colorway. So it has a white upper, but then the hits of blue and red are on the tongue, the laces, the Nike swoosh, as well as the outsole. In my opinion, I think this is just at the level of the PG4. So if I were to go for a USA colorway, you know, if you like the USA colors so much, I'd probably go with the Kyrie 6. Then for the last shoe, this is actually an interesting retro because I really like this. And this would be the Nike Air Flight 89. So this is actually a shoe that released in 1989. And you can actually see where all of the inspiration comes from. So the outsole is actually pretty much the same as the Air Jordan 4, just without the stars on the forefoot. Then for the rest of the shoe, it just looks so 90s. For the upper, you have a lot of cuts of leather that are in white. And then you have a lot of patches of green, black, and yellow. This is because this particular Air Flight 89 is in a Seattle Supersonics colorway. And I just think that, you know, this is the coolest shit ever. You have that Flight logo on the tongue. Then you also have that Nike Air on the back. And in my opinion, this is just speaking to me. Like, by me. But anyway, we shall see. I'm really trying to fight the temptation to get this shoe. So those were all of the shoes that released last week. As you can see, Adidas had like 4 shoes and Nike had a boatload of shoe releases last week. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot, Nike. So for the upcoming releases, I'll just be naming the 2 releases on the Nike sneakers site. So for the first one, we have the Air Jordan 5 in Purple Grape, which is available on July 7th at 10 AM here in the Philippines. The Air Jordan 5 Purple Grape is a shoe that's very polarizing because in my opinion, it's just so purple. So it's sort of an alternate grape. So instead of having it on the tongue, you have the purple in a suede that's like all throughout the upper of the shoe. And in my opinion, this is just way too much, especially seeing them in the picture. But you know, we will try to get them to see if they look any better in person, but I highly doubt it. Then for the other details on the shoe, you do have a black midsole, a translucent outsole on the bottom, then you also have teal on the fighter jet piece, as well as the lace lock, and the Jumpman on the tongue. So there, if you're one of the people who really like this shoe, it'll be available on June 7th at 10 a.m. so be ready. Then on July 11th at 10 a.m. we have the Air Jordan 1 Smoke Gray. And this is a pretty cool looking Air Jordan 1 high colorway. So you do have white on the midsole, white on the toe, as well as white on the midfoot panel. Then you also have this really light gray on the overlays on the toe, the midfoot, the laces, and in the heel. Then you also have black here on the outsole, the Nike swoosh, the ankle collar, and the laces. Then the cool thing about this colorway, in my opinion, even though all of the other colors are very subdued, on the ankle collar overlay, you do have this bright red. In my opinion, this red piece actually makes the colorway really cool because it gives it just enough pop of color to make it look really interesting. So I'll definitely be trying to cop a pair of these on July 11th. So, you know, good luck to me and to everyone who is trying to get a pair, because I think this will pretty much sell out in a few minutes. So there you have it, guys. Those were the basketball shoe and basketball retro releases of last week, as well as the upcoming sneaker releases for next week. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Then if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for any future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then once again, don't forget, if anyone knows what video game the Dame 6 playoffs are inspired by, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot here at Sneaks and Ball PH.